In this video, we're going to focus on how we can draw an arbitrary line here with a button. When you press this or press this one here, you can see it moved, and it will be completely outside of the object, and we will figure a way how we can connect with the chart object to do this. So let's start to look how we can do this. So let's start to look how to draw the lines outside the chart object in Chart.js. So to do this, first of all, we need to get the default code or the boiler template, which you can find on chartjs3.com, getting started, this specific link here, which you can find as well in the description box. So once you're in here, let's scroll down and copy this entire boiler template. Copy this, and if you wonder how this code has been built, make sure you watch this video here that explains it all. So we paste that in there, and then I will just paste in the title in here. Save, refresh, there we are. Let's maximize the size of this. Let's say here 80%, save, and convert this into a line chart. And the question was basically, how could we create something that would function outside of the chart itself, or at least a button, and outside from the chart object? So there's basically two ways. So I'm going to show you the first way that we can do, but the first way has some, what I would say, hiccups, but it might be useful for you, and it's the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to create a function here, and of course I want to make a button, and the button here, say, oh, that's not what I wanted, button, and we say on click function draw line, for example, and I'll just put in here value 1. Then we have here the item or the name of the button, draw line. Save, refresh. Alright, of course we have an error because of this here. So I'm going to say here draw line value, put that in there, and let's see, that is not value 1. So what I want to do now, if I save, refresh, this works. What I want to do eventually is I want to draw, for example, in a specific position, and the position would be number 1, which would be meaning array 1 or index number 1. So we have, if an array works with 0-based calculation, 0 all the way to 6. So here's number 1 would be basically on Tuesday. So how do we do that quickly? Basically here we're going to say, we're going to grab here the chart object, that is this one here. And let me just show you, if I do this, you will see we have instant access. We have instant access of our chart object. So save, refresh, open up developer tab, press the button, and you can see here now we get all the information here. So that's very nice. So we can start to draw, and to draw something we need this CTX. CTX is basically a shorthand for the canvas to draw, and the CTX usually stands for context. Drawing in the canvas in Chart.js, and Chart.js is built in canvas. So drawing in the canvas requires this access here, the CTX, and that's what we need. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to say here chart.ctx or context, and from here on we would basically be able to draw. So what I'm going to do here is I say here the context, and then what we can say here dot, let's give it a color, fill style, or not even fill style. If you want to draw a line, we should have stroke style. Stroke style, and we can give it the color blue, and I'm going to say here, let's grab this as well, stroke style. We have here the line width, that's the right term, line width, and a line width, let's make this 3 pixels in thickness. And then finally we're going to say here my chart, to draw the line, we're going to say a CTX, and we're going to say here well, we have to put in the position, so we're going to say here move tool. And for now, to make it very simple, I will start at 0, that's basically here 0 0, that's the x and y 0, and we go somewhere here or somewhere, wherever we're going. So we're saying here, so normally it's x and y here, so we'll put in here 0 0, and then what we could do here is this line tool, and then we can put in here the coordinates. So to get these coordinates, and let's say we want to connect it with index 1 here. So we draw from here to there. Then what we need to do is we need to get the scale value for this. So what I'm going to do here, I'll say constant y equals, or let's say constant x first. We're going to say here my chart dot scales dot x, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this x value and we're going to put in here x dot get, and this is a built-in function from Chartjs. It's a get pixel for value, and basically what's the value I want to grab? In this case I want to grab the value of the number we have here, the draw line argument. So that's the parameter here, that's the value here, put it in there, and I guess maybe that will make more sense. We're going to start here, and this one I'll say 0, and this one I'll just put it down here, let's say 300. The reason why we do this, well, this one is the x value would basically match with index number 1, and then we have somewhere at the top we start to draw, and we draw 300 pixels down, and later on we will draw just a proper way, and I'm going to show you that way as well. So once I did that, if I save this, refresh, if I press on this, alright, interesting, we get an error here or not. Draw a line, do we have the right functioning? Draw line number 1 here, and then, oh, of course. So why is it not drawing? Simply for one single reason. I need to say here, because this here is the intention to draw. This is the starting point and this is where it ends, but then that's only the intention. So now we say draw, and then we have to say stroke for that. So if I save this, refresh, or let's do that one, press the button, there we are. However, this is the downside of it. If you go in here, you can see if you're on the tooltip and hover on a specific element, it will refresh because there's an animation working here. If you remove the animation, it probably would not matter anymore, because then we don't have this animation effect. Then you can leave this on. So it's up to you, and this is the easiest way. But of course, the easy way is not the way how I want to do it. I want to do it smart way, where we are protected. And you can see here, by the way, that there's a line being drawn here, or it bleeds over. So let me just solve that bleeding. So what I'm going to do here, we're going to say here, we copy this, dot save, to save our default structure that's right now. And then after that, what I want to do is I say my chart.ctx again, dot restore, to official default position. Then this bleeding over that we have here will not occur. So then if I press this, oh, surprisingly, it does occur. Yeah, am I sure? Alright, that's interesting. So let me double check. So the solution eventually is slightly different. This one could be, but apparently it doesn't work here. And the reason why is because this element here, let me just show you, they don't understand that they are independent items. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that this shape that we have drawn is independent. It's a new shape. It's independent from anything else. So to do that, what we're going to do here is we can do it just after the save. We're going to say here my chart.ctx.begin path, indicating that we create now a unique new shape and nothing is connected. So if I click on this now, you can see here the line appears, but here it disappears. So this one will stay now in its original position and color. Alright, so this is the easy way to do it, but it's of course not the best way, because look what we have here is a problem. Every time we hover over an item, if you have a hover effect, it will disappear, and we don't want it. So how do we solve this? Well, so we can do this a nice trick. And basically, we're working with this object here. So we could communicate into the object that we have created something and put that in there. And then we can start to draw the line as well within the plugin. So basically, we will say the plugin will only be activated the moment we see a value. Sounds complicated, but it's not. Don't worry. I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. So we have this config here, we have the options here, and what I want to do is comma, say plugins, and then we are going to create a new plugin, and I will call this our like a special line. Let's call it a special line. I'm just making it up as I go. And we're going to give it here constant special line. And this is our, let's make sure we have that special line plugin block. So then we're going to say here ID equals this, comma, drawing this. So when are we going to draw this? If you want this line at the back of our database, or sorry, our data set, we have to draw this before we draw the data sets. So we're going to say here, before data sets draw. Then we have chart, arc, and plugin options. And then what we're going to do here is a object destructuring. If you don't know what they are, I have a video on the same with Chartjs object destructuring. It's in the description box. Please watch that one. So I will not explain what I'm doing here because that video will be extensive on that topic. CTX again, remember that's for drawing. What we can do here as well, we need the CTX. What will we need as well? The data we'll be using. And what we're going to do here is the chart area. And again as well, for the chart area, there's a video understanding chart area in Chartjs. Very, very useful to know. As well, in the description box, there's a video for that. Top, bottom, left, right, and I think that should be more than sufficient, comma, and the scales we need probably here, I think only the X, but we can do X and Y. So now we have this, and what we want to do here is to make sure that we're going to draw something, and we're going to build a if statement or a condition in there that if a value is available. However, we'll do that later on. Right now, we're going to just draw it, and what we're going to say here is the following. Let's say ctx.save to save all variables above. And then we're going to say here, if, and, well, basically we could do that, I guess. What we want to do is, and I'll just put it in here, comma, we're going to give it a proper name, and let's give this a name, place of the line, or line position, something like that. And I'll just make this right now number 1. Meaning we want to have it the same. If we press on this, it should be here as well, but this time we will cover it from top to bottom, and if you hover over it, make sure that it is visible. Alright, so what we're going to do here, so we say if, and then that's why we have the data here. How do we get to this location? Data, data sets, then we're going to say index 0 because there's only one index, and then place line. Data dot data sets index 0 dot place line. And then so if this would be a value, let's say here, if it is bigger than -1, and if you're wondering why bigger than -1, what we want to do here, because it's not an array, but however the values of this to here is an array. So if it's -1, it will not be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. Of course, if you have an array here, then we could do it with length. If length equals 0, in that case, don't show, and if it's bigger than 0, show or do something. However, in this case, I'll just make it simple here. And if you have questions about this, put them in the comment section below. Comment section below. We have this now here. So what we want to do now is we want to check if it's bigger than -1. We need to have the position here, which is the index number. And if we scroll down here, we probably can grab most of this, and what we could do is we can just grab the entire chunk of code here. Let's copy this. Go up, put it in there, and then proper indentation. There we are. So we have the begin path, blue, we could have blue, we could have any other color as well. Line width, I'll maintain that one, and then the position here would be the value. But this value now is the item here. So I'm going to copy this, and I'll just give this a maybe we can just say a constant position equals that. Then I'm going to grab this, put that in here as the position, so we have a shorthand, and we should have now, well, I don't want this one, but what we could do here, let's see, hold on, let's save that one first. Alright, you can see already it's starting to work. However, I don't want it to work yet. Put it on 0. And this one here, let me just leave that in there for now. And the reason why is I want to have it from top to bottom. So to do that, remember we have these chart area values, top and bottom. We can say here, we start at top, we end at the bottom. Save, refresh. Alright, that is confirmed now. So the next thing what we want to do is we can scroll down here. Then what we're going to do here is, we have all of this here, we can just remove all of that. Or yeah, I guess we can just delete this. We have this draw line value. And what I want to do is I want this value, what we have in this button here above, this number 1. This needs to be eventually positioned within here. So let's start to do that one. So what I'm going to say here, how do we do this? Well, we're going to say here my chart dot data, and then basically from my chart dot data, it's from this point we jump all the way up to the data here, data sets index 0, and then we go to line place or place line, sorry, data dot this, and data sets index 0 dot, oh, we have that, and what is it, line place or place line, sorry, place line. All right, that's such a weird term. Position of the line basically. And then we're going to say here equals what exactly? This value here. So we can say that, and what I want to do now is say 0, save, refresh. Oh, sorry, of course not 0. We're not allowed to do 0 because 0 is not minus 1. So we have to put this on minus 1. Alright, so we have this. So what we could do as well is we could push. If I do this, save, we might get an error. Do we get an error? No. Apparently it just recognizes undefined. So what we could do here as well, instead of placing this, oh wait, we will see it if we press this, then probably it does. Alright, so it will work of course if I do something here right now, but what we could do here is basically this one here, we have to add this, we have to push this object here, and I guess if we do here console after our push, let's see if this all works. Save, refresh, press on that, open up this, we have this. Then I want to go to the data object, remember that's this one here. Then we should be already be able to see the items place line. Alright, interesting, it just goes immediately in there, it does recognize this, so that will make it just a bit more easier. Press on this. Alright, interesting. Press on this, of course it does not work. Alright, after some tiny research I realized a few things. So what we need to do here basically is this. And you can see here this works, but I'm going to show you why it doesn't work if we let it load for a while. So let's save this again, we put it like this, refresh. If I refresh and press immediately, it works. This is fine. Yes, and the reason why this happens is because we have this animation, and this animation allows us to load all the time. What I first thought is that I had to push this object within here, but it's not necessary. Even if we would remove this, the object will come the moment we do this, and it will understand that this is a new object with a namespace in there and the value. So, but if I save this, refresh, and now I try to press, it doesn't work. So why it doesn't work? Well, basically, if it has a animation, like right now is the movement, the chart is basically reloading all the time. So what we need to do here is we're going to say here my chart dot update. This will force a tiny reload that if we wait and then press, you can see here now it shows it nicely. And of course we could change this. We can, if we put in here another number, this, and I think we could even do this. We put this on 4 and we can see some differences. So if I press this, alright, and then if I do this one, it will upload or update the item, but it will not draw them both. The reason why is because we don't have an array here. This one here. This here is an override. We override the value itself. We could do with an array, but that's I guess another one. But then if you want to do an array here, we have to work with a for loop. That's most important. But there I have other videos for that. If you really want to know that, you can put also a question in the comment section and I'll make sure I get back to you. And while thinking about it, I also have another video. So if you're very interested in having multiple arbitrary lines, in that case, this video is probably a very suitable one. and it's about how to add multiple arbitrary lines in Chart.js where we'll be using a for loop to draw them.